Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is September 9th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see Southern California, the Salton Sea right there. You got San Diego and Los Angeles. I'm kind of zoomed in here on Southern California because we did have that thunderstorm activity again yesterday. You can see during the morning hours this complex of storms right on the Arizona-California border. Let's put that into motion, and you see the cumulus build up across a lot of the peninsular and the transverse range. Some of that helped out with some of this pyrocumulus activity. You can kind of see the smoke from some of these fires underneath some of these storms here as well. And you can see this lightning just continuing on as we went all the way on into the afternoon and eventually the evening hours here. Hundreds of lightning strikes across the region. Then we go to the overnight hours and you can see the burn scar areas, the hot spots here on the GOES 18 satellite. And you can see the thunderstorms continuing across some portions of northwest Arizona. Then we get a bit of a break from that. We go on in towards where we are this morning, and you can see the smoke still being produced. If you're seeing the smoke across Los Angeles, the metro area there, you've got a couple of fires across the higher terrains bring that smoke back down in the region. You can also see as we scroll through where we are right about now, you see the cumulus starting to build up on the crests of the mountains there, and may even be assisted by some of the pyrocumulus activity off some of those fires as well. So taking a look at what's coming up here, we are going to be cooling down. We've got a trough on the way. It's going to be dropping our temperatures. You can see Stockton, for example, 95 today versus next Monday, 80 degrees. Red Bluff, big drop as well. Look at that, 17 degrees. Redding, Marysville, Chico, Auburn. You guys get the picture there. And if we take a look here at Bakersfield, look at Monday, 102 versus next Monday, 81. So we have a couple troughs coming in here. We're going to take a look at those during this video today as well. You can see Hanford as well, 102 versus 80 a week from now. Now, rain chances do exist out there. You can't rule out some thunderstorm activity across some of the peninsular range and the transverse range for Southern California also. A fairly small chance, but you can see Las Vegas, a little bit of activity here also. So if you're heading out there, or if you're across northwest Arizona or some of southwest Utah, St. George, right on the edge of the more active thunderstorm activity, that does include Cedar City. Now, looking at the 7-day outlook for Phoenix, they are talking about these troughs coming here. We're going to start to get some windy, breezy winds rolling through the area, and I'll show you that here in the weather models in a moment. And maybe even some rain chances for some of the area here as we go towards next upcoming weekend. Now, looking at the isolated mountain storms today, this is San Diego National Weather Service. So you can see Big Bear, and there is the chance for some thunderstorm activities here. So I just want to let you guys know that if you're out and about across the higher terrain, watch out for those buildups as we go through the day today. So here's officially day 1. You notice they didn't include Southern California here. There's day 2 and day 3 clipping Northern California there also. Now, if we look at the high-resolution rapid refresh, the composite reflectivity, you can see it does pop off a few showers here, so you cannot rule out lightning strikes with those, but not the same coverage we have had the last 2 days. Scroll all the way in through 48 hours, and you can see the beginning of that troughing start to approach Northern California here with some of that precipitation. Let me see if I can click on my arrow. Yeah, that for some reason drops off there when I switch around some of my programs. So anyway, got the green circle back on here. Let's take a look at the North American model. And this is 80-meter wind speed. Put this into motion. And you'll see as you go through the afternoon and evening hours, you get the typical increase in some of the winds, the westerlies across the San Joaquin, some of the Sacramento Valley, some of the higher terrain in the desert areas, and right along the immediate coastline and out over the coastal waters. But watch what happens as we start to go on in through Tuesday. As we start to tighten that gradient, you see some even gustier winds across some of the southern Sierra Nevada, desert areas, down the coastal areas, Northern California. And then as we go on in through the day Wednesday, look at some of these winds really start to kick up here across some of the higher terrain, down the coastal areas, peninsular ranges, desert areas, Sierra Nevada. We're going to get windy here as we go on into the mid portion of the week as that trough is swinging through the area. Now, taking a look at the upper levels of the atmosphere, this will show you that trough we've been talking about here for some time. This is the artificial intelligence European model as of last night. So let's put this into motion, and you can see that's what's going to be tightening the gradient as we go through this upcoming week, potentially bringing some precipitation in northern portions. More on that here in a moment as well. Excuse me. Frog in my throat this morning. And if you go out into the extended forecast a little bit, you can see this next trough dropping down the coastline here as well. And that would be nicely placed. This would suppress temperatures across much of the southwest as we go on in towards the following week. So cross your fingers for that. Then a little bit of an inside slider starts to roll down there as well. And then maybe even some ridging and a warm up here as we go through the end of September. No promises on that just yet also. Now, if we take a look, we already looked at the composite reflectivity here, but on the year, actually on the HER we looked at, this is the NAM3 cam. This actually goes out 60 hours. So we're going to scroll through this and just kind of see when that next frontal system starts to try to roll down in here. You can see it bringing some precipitation in northern portions here. Not a lot, but anyway, the big story from that trough is the cool down that will be occurring. So now we're going to take a look at that cool down, 2-meter temperature anomaly in Fahrenheit. You can see California, as we are now, above average here. We've been there for a while, but the cool down, it's coming. So just be patient a little bit here. And as we go through this week, we're going to get that cool down. You can see below average temperatures across much of the state. And then we go on in towards the weekend and we remain cool. I mean, that next trough here would mean business if it drops right down over the area. It would be a little bit raw here, even across some of the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada and off in the backcountry as well. So cross your fingers for that. Now, taking a look at the tropics here, and again, we've been watching that kind of a little bit of a surge here in some of this moisture that tries to move out of the tropics up through the Gulf of California into the southwest. You can see a little bit of that try to surge up in here towards the Sierra Madre and maybe up into Arizona. It does not look like it's going to have huge impacts, although it could bring a tiny bit of moisture into some of the desert areas. But then one of these troughs is going to swing by and shunt that moisture, I should say, back off to the east there. Now, taking a look at the wider view of things here, you can see that we've got the Hawaiian Islands to the bottom left. We're looking at the GFS. We're looking at surface pressure. And so we're watching for any tropical systems trying to move out of, the tropics here up to our region. You can see that weak system coming through here as we go through this week. And we're also looking for high pressure that tries to dominate over the Great Basin that would drive some of these offshore winds in a Santa Ana wind event. And you can see as we go out towards 200 hours, you don't really see any kind of hint at that at all. If we go out a little bit further, it does show some high pressure trying to build here, but this is not that favorable of a location. This is more centered over Wyoming and Montana. And this wouldn't really be the driver of a big Santa Ana or a Diablo offshore wind event, but we will be watching that. I mean, September is that time of year, so you can kind of just broad brush and say we're going to get a Santa Ana wind event during this time frame. But right now, we're not seeing too many signals of a strong event coming as we go through, September 21st. We'll be checking back on that on a daily basis. Here's total precipitation anomaly. I showed this yesterday as well. This is for meteorological summer, which is June, July, and August. And you can see a lot of California has been quite a ways below average. Not like we get a lot of precipitation at this time of year. So if you zero things out, it's still not that much less precipitation than you would normally get. But you can see much of the state has been below average, except the northwest portion. There may be some individual locations across some of the Peninsula Range and maybe some of the southern Sierra Nevada. But as we go through the 6 to 10 day, below normal signal here showing up, just what we just talked about here, multiple troughs potentially rolling through September 18th, and then 6 to 10 day kind of favoring maybe central and northern California. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, again, you could pop off a couple storms as you go through the day today, and look forward to that cool down coming here. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. And we'll check out precipitation chances as we get a little bit closer. I didn't want to go into too much detail on that because those troughs are not likely to bring a lot of precipitation, especially down across Southern California, maybe for some of the Sierra Nevada, but we'll look at that in a little bit more detail tomorrow. Otherwise, I hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.